It's Bigfoot Collectors Club with Bryce and Michael. I know a ghost story or two. Let's do this.
Nova, the sheepish lion, Nova. There's no denying he's a wild and woolly sheep. Nova, the sheepish lion.
I love that cartoon.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm good to go now. Lambert. I'm sitting here with Mr. Nova, who is healing my late night woes.
Mike's hungover.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael McMillian. Welcome back to another episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal histories and share tales of high strangeness. As I said, I'm your host, Michael McMillian. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
And your trusty producer,
Riley Bray.
And before we bring in our lovely guest today, I just want to give a shout out, to all the hard-working firefighters, first responders, men and women who are putting their lives on the line to fight the California wildfires that are happening right now. Thank you so much. The podcast donated yesterday to the cause. If you would like to help out our firefighters, you can go to lafd.org and you can donate there to help them get water packs and things that they need to help save lives and wildlife. So, boy, it's been a rough week here in California.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
So, thanks to all of our brave souls out there. Also, Bryce, buddy, speaking of Bigfoot, you're back in a cast.
Yeah, back in a cast. Had a second surgery on my foot, so I'm really excited about that.
How you feeling, pal?
I'm feeling good. Surgery went great. Got some nice hardware in there, and yeah, the surgeon was pleased. He's like, I'm going to show this to my doctor buddies. I was like, okay, great. That sounds good.
This, of course, is your broken heel.
Yeah, this is my broken
broke
heel.
Just after we started
yeah.
this podcast. Guess what?
What?
The official main feed went live a year ago.
Yeah, that's
this
crazy.
week. So now it really is our first birthday with Riley. So
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hell yeah.
we've been doing this
Finally.
for 1 year in this clubhouse.
Thank
We
God.
did it.
And you know what? This show would be nothing if it weren't for our amazing guests. I want to bring in today's guest.
Do it.
She is a stranger. I can't believe that she agreed to come do this podcast, basically knowing me after 24 hours.
That's trust,
I'm
man.
worried you're going to get murdered someday.
I'm worried I'm going to get murdered today.
Hey, the night's still young. But she is an actor whom I recently worked with. She's a writer. You may have seen her on TBS's sitcom Wrecked. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TV's Jessica Lowe.
Yay.
Hi,
Hi.
thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for
Thanks
coming
for coming.
here.
Oh, my gosh.
Is it weird to not see me with a fake mustache on?
Yeah, you ate so much dirty hair. He opted for the breakfast burrito,
Right.
but he had to watch himself eating it in a full-length mirror because he was consuming so much pube-like
Oh my
hair.
God, this fake mustache I wore for the show we just worked on together. It was like someone shaved their pubes and glued them on my face.
Right,
it
right.
was the worst.
I love that you had to watch it and yourself eat it in front of a mirror.
Yeah, because I didn't want to.
Like,
I kept
this is fun.
I kept getting. I know, what a weird. Here I was in like a fake mustache and a smoking jacket,
Yeah.
eating a breakfast burrito in a mirror. It was like someone's a weird fucking fetish.
I immediately was like, this is the vainest dude ever.
Just hold on, I'm watching myself
Hold
eat.
on, let me just snarf down this bacon and egg burrito.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we spent, Jessica and I spent 48 hours trapped in the W Hotel.
Oh, cool.
It felt like we were on a very surreal vacation with people we didn't know,
Nice.
including one another.
Well, there you
But
go.
we got through it.
We got through it.
Jess likes to keep the room real cold.
I run hot. I run real hot, like a wolf.
I mean, wolves are notoriously warm. Everyone knows this.
That's why they're so snugly.
Why do you
I
like the
know
room
that.
so cold? Are you just like you? I mean, I dug it actually. I think we
I
scared
think
off
because,
the other actor.
I know. I think because I had a hot mic on my spine.
Oh, yes.
That was really doing some business.
It was sending the heat vibes up
yeah.
and down.
I was just I like to cool it down so I don't get sleepy. Because every time we went in the other room and it's just like
It's a comedy aid.
Yeah, like just all the grips are just ball sweating, just like real hot. So I wanted it to be
That's
like
what they do.
crisp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just spent, I just got done writing for a show, and I was 4 weeks in a writer's room, and we were like in the same room all day. And by the end of the day, you know who wears and does not wear deodorant. Like it gets real steamy in that place. So yeah, I get it. I would have liked a lot more AC in that room.
Copy that.
You know, just a bunch of nerds sweating out their breakfast burritos while coming up with Batman dick jokes.
Sounds awesome.
It was a good time. Who would like to hear this week's update of the
BCC News?
I
feel so lame doing that.
Gets better every time.
Getting later and later, which is kind of the fun. So did you guys hear, Jessica? Let me know if you heard about this. The massive object that NASA spotted.
Oh, yeah.
That they are saying is maybe an alien probe.
Yes.
Called Oumuamua, I believe it is.
Yeah, I've read about this before. This is like an article that circulates once or twice a year, I think.
No, this is a different thing. I think you're thinking of that mega structure that they see out blocking a distant star that they think might be some sort of alien mega structure. This is a brand...
I get all my alien probe news articles confused.
It's probably true. Okay, so this is from the Daily Beast. Jen Kirkman sent me this one first thing in the morning the other day. She texted me. Harvard astronomers think they might have spotted an alien spacecraft. We know everyone has a lot on their minds already on Election Day, so this is when it came out on Tuesday. But just so you know, some elite U.S. astronomers believe they have discovered evidence of alien life. Harvard University astronomers say a mysterious cigar-shaped object that was spotted hurling through our solar system at 196,000 miles per hour last year may have been an alien spacecraft sent to investigate Earth. Scientists have argued over the nature of the object since it was first discovered in 2017. Now, a paper by researchers at the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics suggests that the dark red object, which was named Oumuamua, meaning a messenger that reaches out from the distant past in Hawaiian, might have an artificial origin. It may be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth vicinity by an alien civilization. However, astronomers admit that this is an exotic scenario and also suggest it could be a form of advanced technology produced by humans? Wait, how does that work?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Like humans from the future?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Jess? Have you seen this? Are you looking at it right now?
Looking at it right now.
So what do you think?
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just assuming it's probably just a piece of the space
Just
that's floating around.
Just a chunk of space broke off.
Just a chunk of space broke
know,
off.
It's a valid explanation.
We are in a chunky part of the solar system.
And humans just like to think it's all about us.
Right.
They
So
want to check us out.
anthropocentric.
They sent this giant rock all the way to this backwater ass planet.
What were some of the details of this thing though? Because I remember my brother was telling me that it would like stop and then speed up to like 900,000 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah, it was saying
right?
196,000 miles per hour.
Right, so it would like change speeds or something like that, which is not astronomical by nature, right?
I don't think so, but I don't know anything about space.
Yeah.
So who knows? I just think it's kind of cool that, how do they know? It's just a big space rock, right?
Things can change speed when they come into the interaction of other gravitational fields.
Oh, that's true, I suppose. Yeah.
So this is from The Independent. The Harvard scientist who suggested a piece of space rock might actually be an alien spacecraft says that the strange visitor doesn't look like anything we've seen before. The research explored the unexpected movement of the rock and suggested it could be a quote-unquote light sail, which was sent intentionally by aliens to investigate Earth. This is bizarro.
This is scientists trying to find like alien life forms. It's like when they're already here, they're like just
what do you know that we don't?
listen to the contactees' experiences or something,
Wait,
right?
they're already here.
That's what Bigelow says. They're like right under our nose.
Oh boy, Bigelow, that guy again.
Yeah.
Have you read that book, The 37th Parallel, that I sent
No,
you?
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Oh man, there's a lot of Bigelow goodness in that.
Oh
one.
really? Oh good.
Yeah, this is this book by Ben Mesrich,
Mm-hmm.
who also wrote the book that the Social Network movie was based on.
Oh no way.
And they talk about Bigelow setting up his NIDS initially.
Yeah.
And Bigelow, there's a cool bit in there where Bigelow believes that the Black Triangle ships are military, grade secret blimps.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
But that wouldn't make any sense of the Phoenix Lights Black Triangle.
No, that doesn't. That's a different craft.
That's totally.
These are the
different
ones
craft.
with the 3 lights on the bottom that people see with like
Right.
the center light.
Okay, interesting.
Anywho, let's get back out
Yeah.
of this realm and get back here on Earth with our friend Jessica. Jess, you felt weird coming on the show for a number of reasons, but one of them is
Mostly that we just met in a hotel room. You're wearing a smoking jacket.
what is your personal paranormal history?
I was thinking on this, and I don't have a lot of like ghost stories. I have never been haunted. I don't think.
I mean,
That's good.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I take it day by day. But I do remember there's one story, and it relates to being an actress.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So when I was 7 in Albuquerque, I demanded that I get a Hollywood agent to my parents.
Oh, that's amazing.
In Albuquerque?
Yeah. My mom and dad were like, what are you talking about? Go to your room. But they let me audition for like the local theater troupe in Albuquerque. And my first production was As You Like It. And I played Hymen, the goddess of love.
Yeah, you did.
Yikes. And the production took place at this theater called the...
So you're 7 years
yeah,
old?
I'm 7 playing
Playing
Hymen.
Hymen?
Your parents
Yeah,
were like,
and I
this
was-
acting career is going to go great.
Were there
Yikes.
adults in this program?
Yeah.
So you're the only kid?
I was the only kid.
And you're playing Hymen?
And I played a little goddess.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
I remained intact throughout the production. Yikes. Yikes. Sorry.
No, do not apologize.
So we had our performances at the Chemo Theater in downtown Albuquerque.
Always a lively audience.
Which
the Chemo
is,
Theater.
which, KIMO.
Okay, whoops.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Hey, anyone want some insensitive cancer jokes this morning?
Oh, no. And there's some folklore that surrounds that historic theater.
Whoa.
Built in 1927.
Okay. That's old enough to be haunted.
Yeah. So it almost had to close down during the Great Depression. There wasn't a lot of money in Albuquerque to go see theater. But it had a big opening, and then in 1951, a 6-year-old named Bobby Darnell got scared during a production and ran out of the theater and went by the concession stand. And at that moment, the boiler exploded.
What?
Yeah. And it killed this 6-year-old boy named Bobby.
And now he's known as Bobby Boiler?
And
haunts the
Bobby
theater?
Boiler Service.
Wow.
So his ghost still haunts the theater. And so in the backstage, there's a shrine to Bobby. And there's all these pictures, all the cast. Every cast has to give him an offering. And in general, I guess he loved donuts. And so
You would think after the boiler exploded that, like...
they'd want to clean shit up back there.
Right.
But instead, on like one of the heating tubes, you put donuts. And then at night, he comes and eats them. I'm going to say it's probably the rats of the Chemo Theater.
Yeah.
There's like, you can see there's little bites in the donuts, and that's Bobby.
That's Bobby eating those little bites.
Feeding a population of rats.
Bobby's a rat king
Yeah,
that
Bobby's the
lives
rat
under
king.
the floorboards of the stage.
And like a couple productions of like Forgotten the Donuts, and like they're like cords end up falling down during performances, and like
I'm Bobby Boiler. Give me my donut.
give me my goddamn donuts.
Whoa.
So
Wait, he got some sort of premonition, or like he was on stage and he saw something?
he was
or?
watching it with his friends.
Yeah.
Just like these
I
6-year-old
like that your
theater
version of the
goers.
story is that he got stage fright and ran out.
Oh.
I do like that idea better. No, he was in the audience.
Oh, he was in the
and
audience.
He was on the
Okay.
second stage, like the balcony.
Yeah.
And he got scared, and so he ran down the stairs, and the concession stand is like right over this boiler.
Oh
room.
man. That's
And the
crazy.
boiler exploded?
Yeah.
So it's like he got called to the
wolf-
explosion.
Yeah.
Come down to the
Bobby.
concession.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Get some licorice.
So did you ever have an encounter with Bobby Boiler Room?
No, I think we did our duty and brought a bunch of donuts. So I think he was good with our production of As You Like It
Good.
with Jessica Lowe. Making her theatrical debut as Hyman.
Yeah, how did things go after that?
No, downhill. That
No,
was my
That
peak.
was the highlight. Now they
Yeah.
have a shrine to Hyman.
Yeah.
And backstage next to Bobby Boiler.
You
What
could
if you're
open up a
ghost?
little donut shop right next to the theater, you know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, you should call him Bobby B's Boiling
Bobby
Donuts.
Speed Bakery.
I keep hearing an echo from this drum next to me, and it sounds like a voice is talking in my ear.
It's
and
Bobby.
It's scaring me.
Michael, do you hear me?
Man, oh boy, I've already had a rough morning.
More donuts.
So what was it like growing up in Albuquerque? Because I feel like that's sort of a supernatural place. You guys get a lot of like lights in the skies out there, and
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot of nuclear testing out there because we
have
don't matter.
hill people.
It's like NIMBY, except in New Mexico. Not in my backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, we got it.
In my, okay. I got some looks.
Tough room.
Tough room. And we have White Sands, and we have a bunch of like nuclear facilities throughout. And I don't know. I think there are a lot of probably some toxic chemicals. I'm sure there's something in Area 51 that we shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Area 51's what? That's in Nevada. I've
Oh, it
passed
is?
by there. Yeah.
What's the one that's like in Roswell?
That is? Oh yeah, because you grew up not too far from Roswell.
I think Los Alamos is near.
Los Alamos is in the like northern part of Albuquerque.
Gotcha,
Something's
okay.
down south.
Well, they have a big. Roswell used to have a big air base there, army base there, and I think that they do. There is a couple bases out there, and they definitely do a lot of They did a lot of nuclear testing out there, and they also used to bring German POWs and put them in Roswell because it's like 200 miles of desert in every direction. So if they tried to escape, they wouldn't get anywhere.
Oh, wow.
So it's really, really crazy. Like their whole,
It's like
the
the
whole
desert
history.
Alcatraz.
Yeah, during World War II was like pretty wild. But did you grow up hearing stuff about like was Roswell a popular thing? Did people talk about?
No, like
how-
we didn't really talk about it.
Well, I would talk about it all the time, and I didn't even live there.
I know.
Did you ever hear stories of like when was the first time you remember hearing the story of the Roswell crash?
I think probably around like 7th grade, we were looking at like aerial shots of like around New Mexico, and there's just like this one section that's like classified, and that like did pique my interest. Like you're not allowed to take a picture
Of Roswell?
like of that, of like the surrounding area of like where the crash is.
Oh, that's right, because that's where all the testing sites are.
Well, you ever heard of Dulce? That's in
Dulce's in New Mexico.
New Mexico.
What's
That might be the
that?
one you're
That's
thinking
the
of.
that's the secret. That's the new Area 51. That's like the secret underground military base where supposedly aliens and humans are working together, and it's supposedly like. I love that reaction. And no, now just listen here now. And it goes like 700 feet. There's like 7 different levels underground, and
Yeah, that's where the guy, I can't remember his name, the janitor that was working there at one point, I think. Or a
Phil
guy-
Schneider.
Phil Schneider. Was he a
He was,
janitor?
no, he was a geoengineer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knocked him down a few beds. He was a rat king working beneath the floorboards.
Yeah, right.
Dulce,
right.
he claims his story is that this bioengineer used to work at Dulce, and he claims that an alien shot his hand with a ray gun.
Yeah,
in
there
one of
was-
the underground tunnels.
There was an
And it-
alien attack down there. They were, and he was involved in it, and he narrowly escaped with his life.
I was looking at that because knowing you're from New Mexico, I was like, maybe I'll do that for my high strangeness today. But I did not have enough time to research it. But one day we'll definitely have to tell that story. Dulce is supposed to be like, do you watch Stranger Things?
Yeah.
So like Dulce is supposed to kind of be like the lab where 11 was made and where
Oh.
the like hole to the upside down is. Like that's all kind of based on Dulce, and then the fabled research lab that's off the shores of Montauk. Which I can't remember the name of, but there's supposedly another black site on an island off Montauk in Long Island, and supposedly they are making hybrid animals there and weird
Weird.
stuff.
they're
Stranger Things based on that.
They're called DUM, which is an acronym for Deep Underground Military Base.
Right.
And there's a few of them scattered across the nation. But
well, I was born in Colorado Springs, and there are definitely like underground bases there. Cause
that's NORAD and all that stuff.
There and all that stuff. When was the first time you visited an underground base, Jessica?
Oh, never.
You've never been to one?
Never been to one.
Oh man, they're fun. That whole, I don't know. We gotta. What do you think about the Phil Schneider thing?
Well, it's funny. I will. In my story of high strangeness, which
Phil Schneider.
Yeah, Phil Schneider is. And
Sounds like a talk show host.
I know it does. It's very. It's an interesting story. And it's very kind of conspiratorial in nature too. But my story actually intersects with his. My story of high strangeness that I'm doing next week, which will be very interesting. But I don't know. He somehow was like this. He would go around these kind of UFO conferences, and his knowledge of the underground base was so kind of like. It's just like he knew all about it, and he had a lot of kind of information to back up his claims and stuff like that. So it made for a very interesting story. Not only that, the guy's like opens his shirt and he's like, "And here's where the alien shot me," and there's like a big chest wound, and he would talk about like this kind of agreement that they had to work together with the aliens, and that the aliens were allowed to like kidnap and abduct certain humans. That was like part of the deal, so that they could experiment on them. It's just like a very twisted and very dark kind of like story.
I just Googled Phil Schneider, Dulce, and the first thing that popped up is Phil Schneider is a total fraud.
Phil Schneider's a total fraud. Yeah. There's going to be the naysayers out there. But his story definitely, we should do one of his own stories on high strangeness for sure, because it's an interesting one for sure. But,
did he die mysteriously?
Yeah, he sort of died mysteriously too. So after he was talking about all this stuff, he ended up some sort of like apparent suicide with mysterious surroundings happening.
Yikes.
So I don't know. Who knows?
Boy.
Oh,
Oh, boy. Jessica, we have
It's a new segment.
Yeah, we have a new segment called Michael Has a Manic Breakdown in the voice of Popeye. So we don't have a voicemail today. We wanted to kick into the voicemail segment, and I thought this would be a fun time, but turns out you guys are just calling and hanging up on our voicemail. Like, leave us some messages.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. What's the number again, Riley?
It's 310-597-4803.
Call in, leave your message so we can have fun listening to your questions and encounters. Questions and encounters.
Yeah.
That's the name of my new bath line.
Oh, nice.
Maybe some candles. All right, here we go.
It's just bathrobes and scented candles.
Yeah, and some bath salts.
You say bathrobes?
All right, Jess, get that mic close to you because you're up in the hot seat. This is a game that we like to call Bullshit or Believe It. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down a list of different things, and you're going to say bullshit if you don't believe in it, or believe it if you do. And if it's in between, you can use intonal. You can use. You can be emotive with your words.
Great.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you only get to say bullshit or believe it.
Great.
And then we can circle back on anything you want to come back to.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Just
that was
like
great.
that. That was perfect.
Man, you're really good at this already, and you haven't even heard these. All right?
Bad at this.
No, you're not. On your mark. Get set.
Bullshit.
Ghosts.
Believe it.
UFOs.
Believe it.
Bigfoot.
Bullshit.
Angels.
Believe it.
Gnomes.
Bullshit.
Fairies.
Bullshit.
Unicorns.
Bullshit.
Loch Ness Monster.
Believe
Oh,
it.
that was good. Alien grays. Like gray aliens.
Believe it.
Parallel universes.
Believe it.
Oh, reptilians disguising themselves as humans.
Bullshit.
Mermaids.
Oh, bullshit.
Oh,
It's like you had to kill a mermaid to do it. You're like, it's so
a
cute.
mermaid totally
It
died.
has to die
Every
now.
time that happens.
Heaven.
Believe it.
Hell.
I don't believe it.
Dragons.
Bullshit.
Yeti.
Bullshit.
Elves.
Bullshit.
ESP.
Bullshit.
Chupacabra.
Bullshit.
Demons.
Bullshit.
Atlantis.
Bullshit.
Life on other planets.
Believe it.
World peace.
Bullshit.
Peace in the multiverse.
Believe it?
Yay, that was awesome.
I don't know.
You are what? You don't know what?
I mean, there's some things where I'm like, I absolutely believe that there's no way we're the only intelligent life out there. And like the heaven and hell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not necessarily like you go to another place.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, I think it's like a construction to help people purport themselves in it, like do a better here.
Oh, okay, got
Totally.
it.
So I don't believe like it's a place. I believe
Right.
it's like, a mindset.
So what do you think happens after you die?
I think you just turn into worm food.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you believe in ghosts.
But like, I believe that.
God, worm
there
food,
could-
that is brutal.
Yeah, I know.
Also, we can add that to the list of band names.
Yeah.
Worm food.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I
What?
don't
No,
know.
go.
There's
Yeah.
like a whole
Well,
big.
none of us do.
I just
There goes Nova.
don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know about, so I'm like more likely to say, yeah, that's possible than like
Right.
that's bullshit.
Right. Oh man. So do you think like if we're just worm food after we go, like so that just means our like soul or our personality just ceases to exist and it's just we're done.
I don't know. I mean, I keep talking about this show because I just watched it.
Oh,
but
what is it?
In Killing Eve.
Oh, this is supposed to be a great show and I've not seen it.
Oh, it's so good.
I heard it's right up my alley.
It is outstanding.
Okay.
And
What's it on? What's it about?
It's BBC America, and it's a woman who's trying to hunt a assassin serial killer.
Okay.
She's like obsessed with female assassins, and there's this one that's the best, and her name's Juvenile, I think, and
Juvenile
or
Hyman.
it's like Vivanel, something French. She's outstanding, and she's about to kill this guy, and she talks about how the soul. People always talk about it goes somewhere else. She thinks that it just gets smaller once you die. Like people have all this hope that you're gonna go to like a better place. She thinks it like sinks into your bones.
Interesting.
Which is so sad. So maybe I'm just like being like extra emotional because I just watched that episode.
That's fine. We welcome all sorts of emotions here at Bigfoot Collectors Club. You're really big on the thing, Bryce, that like heaven and hell are here on Earth.
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
Well, I believe it's kind of like what you were saying. It's I don't believe hell is like some physical place that your soul goes to when you die. I believe that like as humans, we have the ability to live a life of heaven or live a life of hell, and we can construct our own personal nightmarish hells here on Earth, and we can live through hell on Earth here, and we can also live a very good life, like sort of, I believe, yes, I believe those constructs are mental paradigms, really. So it's like, you can live in heaven here, or you can live in hell, all depending on your really personal belief and philosophy, I suppose.
Yeah.
What do you believe?
I don't know. We've kind of kicked this around on the show before. I kind of feel like the older I get, the more that I do think that there is something outside of this reality, that a higher dimension that we have dropped down into this world from this reality and return to it after we die. Almost kind of like the Matrix style, or like, the way you are. When you're done with a book, you put the book down, the story ends, but you're still the consciousness that's absorbing the book. I kind of feel like I do feel like there's something after this. I obviously don't know what it is. If you listen to people like our latest guest, Adela Levine, who's a medium and an intuitive, or if you read stuff that like Terrence McKenna talks about, sort of like higher dimensional realms. And Grant Morrison talks about this. He's a writer that I really like. That whatever it is feels more real than where we are now. They keep describing it as being realer than real.
Yeah, it's a strange oddity.
So that's really fascinating. That I think that whatever that is where we end up.
I always like that expression that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
I think we are. The older I get, the more I really subscribe to the idea of like, well, why are we here? It's like, well, we want to bounce down into the third dimension and experience what it's like to be a human and forget about where we come from. And that goes, unfortunately, that experience goes with all the trappings of our dimension in terms of pain, suffering, but also joy and pleasure. But like, and I think it's possible that we could get lost down here and get bogged down and get mired, and we may not go back to where we came from if we're too kind of like obsessed with our lives here or cause too much destruction.
The reincarnation philosophy that if you don't learn what you've come here to learn, then you've got to kind of do it all over again, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can get, because we are basically like sort of spiritually like deep sea diving, coming down into this dimension. I think we can get lost here, and I think it's possible you can't make it all the way back. And then that's kind of what hell would be, is a place where you become,
warm food.
Yeah, or you just like kind of can't get.
I wouldn't
back up
mind
on
being
a higher,
warm food because
vibration.
let me, if you go from dust to dust, then it's just like, then you don't know about it, and you're not in any pain worrying about it. I mean, if it's just lights out, then God, that would almost be one of the easier routes to the afterlife, because then it's lights out, man. Then it's just like a really nice sleep for eternity.
I know. Doesn't
I could
that
do
sound
that.
nice?
It does.
I mean, I don't want to cause
God.
anyone concern, but
No.
I was just thinking the other day. I was like, I really had the thought the other day. I was like, wow, death is going to be such a sweet relief one day.
I know.
Like,
I have often had that thought. Yeah, life is suffering, and listen, death might not have a sting.
Jessica, you were very firm on parallel universes and believing it.
I think there's no possible way, even if there is like 1/1,000,000,000th of a chance that there's like that's there. I mean, it's just the universe is so expansive. I don't think that there's any possible way this is the only universe that exists.
Yeah.
Do you think there's another Jessica in another parallel universe? Like, a multitude of you?
Oh man, I hope not.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
There can be only one.
I have a new mission.
Right.
There will only be one Jessica. I don't think that there's like another one being exactly like me. Oh my
Totally.
God, that
What
sounds
a
so
star.
stupid. I'm gonna go freaking kill myself. Sweet release.
Oh man.
Oh boy. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have this week's tale of high strangeness.
Cool.
We're back here with Jessica, and we are going to dip into this week's tale of high strangeness. And I got a weird one for you guys this week. It's a controversial story, and it's mostly controversial in the UFO community because it's probably, I'm going to say it straight out of the gate, probably a hoax. But a lot of modern ufology was born from this tale. Something happened. Something went down. We know that. There was real people involved. It's just that the eyewitnesses behind the story, as time went on, seemed to be maybe a little sketchy.
Right.
In terms of their credibility. But it's a great story, and so here we have it. This is the tale of the Maury Island UFO incident.
Ooh. Maury Island.
Maury! Maury, did you bring your jacket?
It's my island. I love this UFO story.
Sorry.
Maury, before you go back out there, put your windbreaker on.
But there's a UFO. I think I gotta go. I just need a flashlight or something.
So, Maury Island is in Puget Sound it's in Washington State. And this story takes place on June 21st, 1947. This is just a few days before Kenneth Arnold's fateful flight over Mount Rainier that launched the birth of the flying saucer zeitgeist in the 20th century. Wow. And just about 12 or 13 days before the infamous Roswell crash.
Busy year.
Yeah, this was 47. This was considered the summer of flying saucers. This is basically like, so Kenneth Arnold, who we talked about a couple months back, he was a commercial pilot and salesman, he was a businessman who flew his own plane. He wasn't a commercial pilot. But he spotted 9 flying saucers flying over Washington, and he landed and told this story, and that was he described them as they moved along like saucer skipping on water, and that's where the term the press came up with flying saucers, and then it just kind of took off like that. And within 2 weeks, the Roswell crash had happened. So this particular 2 weeks in late June, early July of 1947, it's like people are seeing shit now. Like there's almost like mass hysteria happening where people are just like, I saw a flying saucer too, that kind of thing. They were like super, super popular. So this was supposed to take place before Kenneth Arnold's flight, but it didn't come out until after. It did not make it into the public until late July of that, so almost a month after it happened. So that's one reason to be a little skeptical, is that like this story came out after Kenneth Arnold went public. But this involves a boatman by the name of Harold Dahl, D-A-H-L, his 15-year-old son, his dog, and 2 unidentified men. They were scouring Puget Sound of driftwood. They were collecting driftwood and getting it out of the way for other boats off Maury Island. And when Dahl claims that he looked up in the sky and he saw 6 donut-shaped craft descending out of the sky, and they were about 2,000 feet up in the air when he first saw them. And he described them as donut-shaped. This was a little inconsistent. I found one report that said they were 100 feet across, and the donut hole was 25 feet across. And then I read another report that said that they were 30 meters in diameter with about a 6-meter hole in the center. So
now you're confusing me.
I know.
You're doing meters and feet.
I know, it's very bizarre, which I guess is kind of close. But you're good.
Close?
You're good at math.
Yeah.
So that's close, right?
Yeah, you said 30 meters is 30 meters is about 90 feet. That's
Okay.
about 100 feet.
All right, cool. So I guess it seems smaller, but
Adds up.
I guess it's not. It adds up. All right.
Great.
And now
Checks
you know
out.
why
Checks out.
I'm an
It's
actor
real.
and I have a podcast about Bigfoot, because I'm dumb.
No.
So
Oh no.
so they had portholes and a viewport, he thought, on these crafts, and the underside of the saucers around the donut hole were darker metal. So the ships descend to about 500 feet over the boat, and the center ship comes down a little bit lower as the other 5 hover in a circle just sort of above it and around it. And they watched as this ship hovered there for a moment, and then one of a second ship out of the 5 broke formation and came down and sort of connected with the first ship. And they heard a clanging sound, a big thud, a clacking, and then suddenly the original ship, the first ship, starts pouring bits of white gleaming metal that are like almost confetti strips. They said it looked like shredded newspaper. So they watched this happen, and they start to move the boat towards shore because they're freaking out. And then suddenly the light shiny metal is replaced by these big chunks of like black metal or slag, and it starts falling out of the ship, and it's steaming hot, and the water starts to steam, and it falls on the boat, clanks on the roof, it dents it. Bad news.
Yeah.
They claim it killed the dog,
Oh.
which sucks. I know. I was worried about telling you about that part of the story. I'm sorry. And it broke his son's arm, and it burned Dahl's arm.
Wow.
So then they watch as The ship goes back up to the other 5. Now, at this point, Dahl gets out his camera and claims to take pictures of these ships. And then they watch them fly off. So Dahl then takes his son to the hospital. Oh, they said that they threw the dog overboard and buried him at sea, which was really depressing. I also feel like this dog didn't exist. I'm just going to choose that the dog did not exist because I don't want it to die. The 2 men now disappear from this story and are not identified or heard from afterwards.
Right.
And his son would eventually run away in the following month to Montana and get a job waiting tables. And they said that he had like a dissociative disorder like break in his personality, and he disappeared. Went off, and then to Montana. He just went over to Montana. So the next morning, Dahl gets a knock on his door, and he opens it to find a man dressed in a black suit driving a brand new black Buick sedan standing outside his door. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to do this story. It's the first official appearance of one of the MIBs, of Men in Black, in a UFO story. So this is like right from the get-go that we started having UFOs and flying saucers. Here come the Men in Black. Like, I didn't mean it that. I mean, I actually did not mean to. Right. I did not mean to say it. But here we go.
But that's how it works.
So this Men in Black says, hey, we need to talk. And Dahl assumed he was from the government, even though the guy didn't show him any ID. He took him to a diner and they had breakfast. And over breakfast, this Man in Black did not ask him any questions. Dahl says that he just recounted the sighting that he had with the donut-shaped crafts to him. So it's just sort of like, here's what happened. You saw this, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't know how he knew. And then he said, if you want to protect your family and yourself, you won't tell anyone about this sighting. So, of course, Dahl then goes and tells his partner, who I think co-owned the boat or helped him scour the driftwood. He was not part of the original sighting. This guy named Fred Chrisman, and he goes and tells Fred everything that happened, the sighting, that this Man in Black visited him. He gave Fred Chrisman his camera that supposedly had the film on it. And Chrisman didn't believe him, Fred Chrisman, but he went out to Maury Island and he said that he saw the black rocks that fell out of the boat or out of the UFO, and he collected some samples. And then he said he looked up in the sky and saw one of the crafts hovering overhead, he said, watching him. And then it drifted off into a cloud. So, Chrisman and Dahl contact Ray Palmer, who's the publisher of Amazing Stories, and would later go on in the next couple of years to start Fate magazine, which had a bunch of stuff of 40 Times and 40 Stories and UFO stories. Kenneth Arnold would write for Fate magazine an article about his encounter. And meanwhile, what's happening since Kenneth Arnold has had his sighting, this is over the course of the month of July, he's started going out and being sort of an amateur Fox Mulder, interviewing other UFO eyewitnesses and people who claim to see flying saucers, and he's collecting all this information. He's become a part-time UFO investigator because he's really into this stuff. And he would go on his whole life going to conferences and talking about this. He became a full-fledged ufologist. So Palmer hears from Chrisman and Dahl this story, and Palmer's been following Kenneth Arnold for the past few weeks. So we're mid-July. Roswell's now happened, come and gone. And Ray Palmer contacts Kenneth Arnold and says, hey, you should fly out and meet these guys because they claim to have this encounter. So Kenneth Arnold gets in his plane, flies from I think he was in Montana or Boise, Idaho. He was in Boise. He flies from Boise back to Washington State. He meets them in a hotel in Tacoma, Washington. And then one of the weird parts of this is when, according to lore, Kenneth Arnold gets to the hotel to check in, and there's already a room checked out in his name. And so he's like, okay. He goes and he takes that room.
That's strange, Mr.
Well,
Arnold.
that's
You
strange,
checked
but-
in this morning.
Exactly. So he goes in that room, and I guess Dahl and Chrisman come out and meet him to Tacoma, and they sit and they tell him the story. They tell him what happened, and they show him the rocks. And Kenneth Arnold's kind of like, I don't know, I don't buy it. He's kind of thinking this story is a little bullshit. Something about these two guys is giving him a funny vibe.
Right.
And I think he brings out with him, or has a Captain Smith, who was a commercial airline pilot, R.E. Smith, I think. He comes out. He and Arnold have been talking since Arnold's UFO sighting, and he's like a commercial airline pilot who's also seen stuff. So this guy comes out, and he meets with Dahl and Chrisman as well. And I think he takes the rocks and looks at them. They have like a few samples of these rocks. And they decide to call out 2 Air Force guys who come up, and they come out. Their names are William L. Davidson and Lieutenant Frank M. Brown. They come out. They meet with them. And they're taking this kind of seriously, I guess, because they're just like, I guess Kenneth Arnold and Smith are like, these guys have such a wild story.
And they got physical evidence, too.
Well, and the thing that like Smith was doing, and also you have to remember, this is like post-World War II. You know, it's the beginning of like the Cold War kind of era. And these guys are taking these things seriously. They're still not even thinking these are necessarily alien spacecraft. They think it could be... Russian crafts that are spying on people. So Smith, I know, is taking everything that he's learning from these interviews and reporting straight back to the FBI.
Right.
He's kind of taking it seriously in that sense. So everything that these guys tell Smith turns around and tells the FBI, and I think he even sent the rocks that they sent them. So the Air Force guys come out, they're looking at these rocks, and they're like, this isn't anything. These guys are lying. But they take a couple of the samples back with them, and the weird thing that happens is they're flying back after this meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Their plane crashes, and they get killed.
I remember this whole
Now,
story.
while this is all going down, over the 3 or 4 days that they're interviewing these guys, a anonymous source starts calling a reporter at the Tacoma Times named Paul Lance. And this guy does not identify himself. He says he's a switchboard guy, operator. And but I don't think there was any male switchboard operators at the hotel, so that was sort of like, that's why they think it was a lie. This guy anonymously starts leaking to the press that this UFO sighting occurred, that Kenneth Arnold's up here, the Air Force people are up in Tacoma meeting with Chrisman and Dahl. So the press, the whole Pacific Northwest, the press starts running this story. And then it culminates with like the spin that these 2 Air Force guys who were out interviewing them crashed. So after the plane crash, Kenneth is still up in Tacoma. This is like day 2 or 3. And Chrisman and Dahl are like, dude, that plane that with those guys, Air Force guys, crashed and those guys were killed. And they tip off, I think Paul Lance contacts Kenneth Arnold, and he's like, hey, just so you know, I've been getting anonymous tips from, like, someone is leaking this story in your group. Or someone is spying on you guys and reporting this stuff. And then Kenneth Arnold was like, well, shit, this is a little weird. He's like, I don't know if these guys saw a craft or not. I don't think they did, but he was getting paranoid in the sense he's like, something is going on here. And there was also a version of this story that people think that the FBI may have started leaking out this story to the press as well, because for disinformation, and that there was maybe some toxic dumping happening by the military up around Maury Island, which I think is also just sort of like a yarn attached to a larger yarn.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, Kenneth Arnold, he takes and the pieces of the rock that the Air Force guys had brought with them, the slag went missing in the crash.
Right.
And somebody told Paul Lance, who told Kenneth Arnold, that they believed that the plane was actually shot down from a cannon on a boat off the water, and they claim that they saw that it was shot down by the military. Whoever this anonymous caller is, right? So we'll get to that in a sec.
So much here, so much to chew on.
I know. So then Arnold flies back after the investigation, and he has to make a safe crash landing because there was something wrong with his fuel line. So he was like, I don't know what's going on here, but there's some shenanigans happening. Now, my theory is that all of this was cooked up by Fred Chrisman. And because he had previously contacted Ray Palmer at Amazing Stories with a wild tale that when he was fighting World War II in Burma, he had to fight a bunch of monsters in a cave that had ray guns.
Okay.
So he's already tried to get some publicity.
You don't like that one? Well, how about this one?
How about this one? And this story, came out.
6 donuts docked over an island.
Oh my God, we have a donut theme. Bobby Boiler.
Yeah!
Bobby, this one's for you. I didn't even realize this was so. I should have brought donuts today.
Oh, man.
Bring him next time.
So I think Donald Chrisman cooked this whole thing up.
I just had a visual of like you researching, and then we're like, oh wait, cave monsters, ray guns. Wait a minute.
But what's crazy about it is like it has all of the elements of a UFO conspiracy cover-up in this story.
Yeah.
Like Air Force guys mysteriously die. These people are like, there's someone spying on them. A Men in Black dude shows up for the first time. And that's why I think it's a significant story in UFO lore, because it's got a lot of the DNA of a modern UFO story. Now,
For sure.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying that means that all UFO stories are therefore fake, but you can start to see where the folklore kind of like gets its archetypes. It's all crazily within this same 4-week period in 1947.
Wild.
Between Roswell, which we still haven't done yet, Kenneth Arnold, and then this story, the Maury Island story. And then Men in Black would become fermented in ufology a few years later in 1955 with a book called by Albert K. Bender. He was really into the Men in Black, and he wrote a book called They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers, where he collected stories of people being interviewed by Men in Black. He had his own MIB encounters. That's a whole other episod for another time.
Yeah, John Keel was big on the Men in Black as well.
Yeah. A crazy what do you call it? Notation to this story is that Fred Chrisman would later be called in as a witness in the JFK trial.
Oh my God.
He was like subpoenaed to talk about one of the suspects or a witness. I didn't really go down that rabbit hole, but he's connected to JFK conspiracy theories. Some people think that he's been a CIA agent from the beginning, just spinning like disinformation and confusion. It's a crazy story. It's really weird. I kind of fall into the bullshit category on this one.
How dare you?
But I love it. I love donut shaped ships.
Yeah.
I don't like dogs dying.
No.
That's no good.
Right.
But I love me some MIB. I love me a conspiratorial breakfast. And, I don't know. It's a good story. That's the Maury Island UFO incident.
Wow. Well done.
Thanks.
Well told.
So what do you think? Jess, we asked all of our guests, what the hell was that?
What the hell?
What the hell was that?
I mean, I think everything is a freaking government conspiracy.
Do
It's
you?
Yes.
Are you really into that stuff?
I think those motherfuckers are always up to no good.
Hell yeah.
And they're just doing some bullshit over those islands, probably getting rid of toxic waste in some beautiful place, some fishermen saw.
Yep.
And then they perpetuate the UFO thing, so it's not like our government is poisoning our waters.
Well, I have to tell you,
and like fucking up maneuvers. Like they were trying to do like some maneuver, and then they docked too close, and then they almost crashed, but like their part of their planes fell into the
So do you think they had donut-shaped planes?
No. Like, so I don't know about that part.
Right.
I think it might have been, I don't know how close it was. Might have been an optical illusion, like with the water reflecting into the sun.
Sure.
You know what makes me...
You can't trust those optical illusions. They get you every time.
Have you ever seen those videos of the UFO videos where it's like some like UFO releasing that slag that you call it. Like,
No.
you haven't seen those? Well, I've seen a few videos of like UFOs, and they're like, they're dropping some sort of like element, and it like sparkles and
Weird.
yeah. So it's like it kind of like
That
that's
tracks.
yeah, it tracks a little bit for me there.
Well, after the plane crash that killed the two Air Force guys, Chrisman, I neglected to mention, Chrisman and Dahl started to retract their story.
Yeah.
But later they claimed it wasn't because they were taking the story back. It's because they wanted to stop talking about it, because once those two Air Force guys crashed, whether
Shit got real.
it was real or not, it freaked them out, and they believed it enough to think that maybe, or so they claimed, that they were like, okay,
Listen,
we're going to stop talking about
Two
this
Air
shit.
Force guys aren't just gonna like grab some like materials unless they're like seriously interested in and bring it back to their base. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not,
that's what was interesting is they said in the story, they said that, oh,
Yeah,
this
I
is
guess
just
we'll take your
aluminum.
rocks
They were
back.
like, this is just aluminum.
Yeah.
Or some slag from a nearby quarry. But then they still took it back with them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
The
when
story's
when you
riddled
have
with weird
witnesses who
shit.
say that they have like physical evidence, I mean, that's when people become really interested. You know what I mean? Especially like a couple of Air Force guys.
Maury, those two guys from the Air Force are here, and they want to look at your rocks.
They want the slag, and they're not going to get it.
Maury.
Check their IDs.
Maury, all the windows are open in here. Put on a shirt. It's freezing.
I hid the slag. I knew they were coming. I had precognition.
I'm fascinated to find out, Jess, that you're so paranoid of the government.
Yeah, that's good. You should be.
They're up to no good.
They're up
They're
to no.
up to no good.
Yep.
We're not safe. We never have been.
I would agree with all that.
Oh my God.
My favorite part of the story is how you were really focused on doing a scalp massage for yourself so that you didn't puke into your stomach. You were just slowly
Just a slow temple rub.
temple rubbing.
I was like, I got to get through
Have
this.
you ever got to the
story.
point, like, we've been doing this for a year right now, so it's like that's like 52 of these like crazy stories. Sometimes I'll be getting to one and I'll be like doing that too, but like, what am I doing? What am I
We're
doing?
all a little Maury from time to time.
Yeah, totally.
Jess, I got to ask you, we haven't asked this question to a guest for a long time. We used to have a segment on here called Collectors Club, Collectors Corner.
Yeah.
You've just heard us be weird for like almost an hour. What is the shit that you're weird about? Like, what are you into like this? Do you collect anything, or do you follow obsessively certain shows, or I don't know. Did you ever have like a weird hobby like this where you're just like, people don't understand, but I do?
No, and that's like the real tragedy of my life is I'm just like, except I'm like, the government's bullshit.
I mean, acting was a big thing, obviously, because you wanted to do it since you were a little goddess.
Yeah. It was on a tiny little goddess.
Yeah.
Tiny little intact hymen. It's so gross.
It's like I hear what Bryce is talking about, and I'm like, sometimes I hear myself halfway through one of these stories, and I am like, what am I doing? And that's probably when the temple rub starts to happen.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, it's been another lovely session in the Bigfoot Collectors Club. Jess, where can people find you should you choose to be found?
I'm just gonna be caretaking this beautiful white dog.
Oh, I know.
I am on Instagram
Yes.
as Jess Marlowe. It's hard to spell. Do your best.
JESS
MARLO. Here's the
It's not that
thing:
hard.
S's sound like F's, and
Oh.
L's sound like O's. So sometimes it sounds like I'm saying Jeff Marl.
Wait.
Maybe you
we
should
need to
start
talk-
another Instagram.
Wait a minute. Yeah, called Jeff
Jeff
Marl.
Oh, I can
It's
have
just
both.
a side
It's
project.
all the things that Jeff Marl's doing, and you play Jeff Marl. You like tuck your hair up into a hat.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jeff Marl. I like antique rugs.
I also enjoy that you are from Albuquerque, but you sound like you're from like South Carolina.
What?
You kind of have like a little country twang to you.
No.
A little bit.
Sort of.
I don't know.
Don't you think?
I guess. I don't.
I guess.
I mean,
Well,
like, if you, I think you're crazy, but like, honestly, it's so late. Like, I need to get some grits in me, or else I'm just pass out. And then Twitter, I mostly just retweet stuff.
Oh, man.
Just conspiracy theories.
The government's killing you.
Twitter is megalomaniac.
Oh, that's
Here's
good.
the thing: there are
Good handle.
hundreds of thousands of Jessica Lowe's in the world.
Yeah.
And I am not an early adopter, so there's some Jessica Lowe that's always going to get the Jessica Lowe before I get the Jessica
Yeah.
Lowe.
That's why my McMills has two Z's, because there was already a McMills. I had just heard a story on a great podcast, I'll plug it, called Reply All, about people who hunt down and like they like stalk people and blackmail people to get and steal their identity to get their OG like handle names, and then they will sell that handle name to a buyer for like thousands of dollars. So like OG names are like really popular on the dark on the dark web for selling. Isn't that weird? What a weird wild world we live in.
That's why I own www.bradpitt.com. I'm just waiting for someone to buy it out from under me.
coming.
I bet you could sell
That
that for a
payday's
cool
coming.
$150 at least.
We want $287.
Yeah. Bryce. God, I did it again. I looked at Riley and I called him Bryce.
He did do
Riley.
that. Well, I mean, he's there too, so
Bryce.
he can
It's
work
all
either
good.
way.
Riley, Spindrift is going on tour soon, correct?
Yeah, we leave on Wednesday.
All right. Well, this episode airs on Wednesday.
We leave
so-
today.
Yeah. So where are you guys going? Where can people come find you guys?
Well, the tour's built around this festival we're playing in Austin called the Saturnalia Festival.
Oh, cool.
Which is a cool psych rock festival. So we're doing shows on the way there and back. But yeah, we're just playing throughout the Southwest, making our way to Austin and back. So if you're in that region, we're doing about 8 shows. So
Great.
We'd
Yeah.
love to see you.
Come check out that. And Bryce, anything to plug for the kids?
No, just follow us on Instagram at Bigfoot Collectors Club, and we're also on all the social media accounts.
Yeah.
Leave us a review on iTunes if you like what we're doing, and if you're really interested in some of our other material, follow us on Patreon.
Yeah. Oh, please do. And please review us on iTunes. It really helps us. We're trying to get up that list.
And one more time, call us at 310-597-4803. We won't pick up, but don't be scared. Don't hang up.
Yeah, don't hang up. We're not
leave a
going to pick
message.
up. You just leave a message.
We're
leave a
just going to
story.
air you on our podcast.
Yeah, we might not. If well, it depends on if you hang up or not.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much to our guest Jessica Lowe for
Thank
being
you,
here
Jessica.
today. You're wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Always welcome back.
It's going to be really weird when we never speak again after this. It's been a fun 3 days being your friend.
At least you didn't get murdered.
I'm gonna send you sassy dance videos.
I would love sassy
and then
dance
just like a
vids.
bunch of dogs being pet.
Oh, that's
Aw.
great. Now we're already friends, I can tell. So thank you everybody listening. We love you guys. We'll be back next week with an all new episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club.
Oh no, he's puking. He's puking.
Wow.
He's puking. That is 100% agave puke.
Oh boy. Pure agave.
Pure agave.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray. Our theme song is Come Alone by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. If you like the show, please rate and review us on iTunes. It really helps get the podcast to more listeners. To support the show, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Bigfoot Collectors Club and unlock multiple reward episodes every month.